Good morning, Milwaukee. Such a beautiful day. This is Latoya with Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, and I'm here with my co-host.
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice,
WNOV.
WNOV. This is Brian Sanders. I am the community outreach organizer for Wisconsin Voices. Let me get that right now. Not league or organizer anymore. I forgot to tell you guys that. Community outreach organizer. So community, I am here for you. Like I was before. Jermaine just laughed at me. Don't do that. Yesterday you called us credible. Today you laughed at us. Cold-blooded. I guess cold-blooded. No, but hey, good morning, everybody. Man, this is even beautiful. More beautiful than today. We got a yesterday.
Amazing history guest in here today.
We do. She doing a lot of stuff. She's doing a lot of stuff out here. I guess we can go right straight to it because she says she gotta go take care of some business. So I want to do your intro though.
Man, go ahead.
Man, you can't send me stuff and then I don't do it right. I thought I would have had like 20 minutes to get you right. So let's get it. All right. So on Be a Voice at Wisconsin Voices Radio today, we have the CEO of JR Creative Holdings, the parent company of Valor Creative Collective and Vogue Dreams Production, and the owner and founder of SLANGS Wood Co. Tonda Thompson considers herself life's mission is to encourage others to walk with authority in everything that they do. Being a runway model in Los Angeles taught Tonda how to accept rejection as the fuel to keep going. Following the tragic death of her first son, Terrell, Tonda spearheaded a career. And I want to shout you out for that because you was going hard. You know, after that, you was going real hard, like everything you do. So shout out to you for that because I was seeing that firsthand. After the death of her first son, Terrell, Tonda spearheaded a career in a serial entrepreneur and a community advocate. She took this path to find solutions and preventative methods to reduce social determinants of health, determinants of health that have negative effects to well-being of Black maternal, infant, and fetal health within the United States. Tonda is the founder of the National Coalition for Healthy Black Families Incorporation, NCHBF, and has created events such as Harunbi. I said that right.
Yes.
Okay, Harunbi 5K, which I've seen multiple times, that honors Terrell's life. Tonda is a developer, a carpenter, a teacher, a model, sometimes a politician, and a mother who's aiming to find life-changing solutions for the future. Well, welcome.
Thank you. I know that was a long intro.
No, it was cool though. I like it. I've got a couple. I got a few long ones, but I like it. You know, people need to know who you are and how they can, you know, connect with you. I feel like just out of everything that you have done, we know personally, we got a lot of people in common, friends and associates, and you know, whatever you want to call them, other ones. You know, you have your hands in a lot of pots, and I've seen it over the years since we was teenagers. You know, and I just want to commend you right now. You know, Black History Month. We got to celebrate our local, and you doing great things, and you got the energy and to be a force in whatever lane that you want to do, whether it's entrepreneurship or, you know, the political world. Excuse me, but let's talk to us. This is Toya. This is one of my long time. This is another one that's a leader in the community doing things as well.
All right.
Have you met Toya before?
I just met Toya.
So you remember when I brought that table in that one year at the gala?
Mm-hmm.
And that table, it was just fresh, like, man, just hard, just fresh table. I threw it in the back of my truck and I went down there. This is who I got the table from.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
she has looked out. And that table was gone like that. I watched it get shipped out the door. Like I would love to see what that table looks like now. But yeah, outside of that, just tell the folks who you are and what's going on with you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Sure.
Man, it's been a, like you said, a long journey. My mission, in honor of my first son, Terrell, has catapulted into She Slangs Wood, JR Creative Holdings, me buying the 311 food store, which is a historic food store in the city of Milwaukee.
Definitely want to talk about that.
People who grew up in Harambe know what that story is.
I did.
Yes,
that was the candy store.
The candy lady.
Yeah,
so
candy store.
I was told that I took the candy lady's her spirit, if that makes sense. Because she nurtured the community, so now I'm there, nurturing the community too at the same time. And I give honor to her family as always, and her too. But definitely, it's been a long journey. I got some incredible friends, incredible people that are behind me. That's my village. But it's a nutshell what I'm saying, but it's so much that comes with what I do, pretty much.
Yeah, I know. I firsthand. I mean, you got folks, you pulling in folks from all across the city to come together, and just even just within you keeping Terrell's legacy alive. Just before we get into She Slangs Wood, which I really want people to know about, because when we got Black entrepreneurship doing craftsmanship work, and Black woman in the city doing that, it needs to be recognized. But for people, let them know about how you've been honoring your son and how that got going as well.
Yeah. So my journey started. Most people don't know that I used to be a runway model.
I know.
So I did a lot of stuff in LA. I lived on and off in LA for some time. And a twinkle of my eye came, which is my son Terrell. He was born in 2013. And at the time that he was born, there was an issue of neglect in the hospital that he was born in. So basically, the hospital treated us like we were nothing, and they treated us like we were nothing. And my son died due to complications from labor. And I was blamed for the complications, which was wrong. So I became very, I always say I shaved my head and became a Wakanda warrior because I was upset at how the hospital treated me and my family. I lost my whole family. I got a divorce after that. It was a mess. I was homeless from time to time. I lost jobs, all of that. It was just a ricochet of a disparity and despair. And once that happened to me, I found out that was happening to a lot of families in city Milwaukee. And in that year in particular, 117 families went through what I went through. And actually, somebody I knew personally, she was at the same hospital that same week, and the same thing happened to her son.
Wow.
And her son died. So that made me very alert and very aware of infant mortality in the city and the health disparities that were happening in our city. So along the way, I got connected with a person by the name of LaShondra Vernon. LaShondra connected me with Malele Cox, Alderwoman Malele Cox. These became my champions. I became a public ally. Public allies connected me to United Way, so on and so forth. The Harambe 5K was birthed when I was a public ally. This is year 10, August 2nd, the first August, the first Saturday in August, year 10. So 10 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna do this 5K in honor of my son. I was working alongside with Mayor Barrett with the Milwaukee Life Course Initiative for Healthy Families. So I had the biggest team to do this work, and they gave me the platform to really shine. And the Harambe 5K, I have participants that they participate from all over the world, like people in Nigeria. After the pandemic made us go viral at some point.
Nice.
Well, virtual. I'm sorry. The pandemic allowed us to go virtual. In 2020.
Yeah.
And it exposed me to other countries and other cities, and people from Nigeria was walking the 5K, people all over the United States. So this is not just locally anymore. My story has been my story has been shared in the BBC worldwide. Yeah. My story has been showed all over the world, and people from all over the world has reached out to me and saying, hey, these issues are happening in our city too. How can we change it? So my story and my son's story, I always tell people he lived only 17 hours but his story has changed millions and millions of lives across the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Man, the
And
impact
that's
is real.
something that we have high in Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Oh yeah.
is infant mortality
Oh yeah.
and the lack of support and help for BIPOC communities, mainly African American young women, has got the highest death rate for infant mortality here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, maternity mortality too as well. Like
Mhm.
black women are dying in the hospitals, and babies are dying 3 times faster than Caucasian babies. This
Mhm.
this was the rate when I was doing this 10 years ago. Now it's even higher, but nobody's really doing the work. I mean, people are doing the work. They're doing the work in their own silos, but it's not publicized like it was when I started. When I started, it was let's do the ABCs. Let's protect babies from having stillbirths and all that, and SIDS and
You
all
are
that.
right. You see more advertisements. You are right. It was
Yeah,
more
it used to be
advertisements
on
and
the
commercials
buses, bus
put into it. Yeah,
stops.
all the time.
I
They
was
used to have the young women
Yeah.
on the bus stops with their babies.
So that
giving
was Serve
information.
Media. So I was a part of Serve Media.
Okay.
My job was the connector from Serve Media and the City of Milwaukee and Public Allies United Way. So I was like the communications person. So I helped with the Strong Baby campaign. Like I did auditions
so
for
it
the
makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you got the people behind it pumping
Right.
it with a vision.
Yep.
It gets put out
That
there.
has
It
that-
still
that
needs
it
that
matters
needs to be
too.
brought back
Yeah.
up. I mean, that's
Yeah.
all tied into what we doing
Right.
in our work. That's
Right.
civically and all across the board. I mean,
And shout out to the new health commissioner,
Yeah.
Mike. Mike has really he's been making the connections on saying, okay, what can we do to change this now? The health commissioners before has done a great job as well, but Mike is saying, okay, we need to focus on this again. This we are, 4 health commissioners from when I first started. When I first started, Bevan was the commissioner.
okay.
I went through all these health commissioners.
Mhm.
I've had the same order person that's been behind my back. Alderwoman Cogs has,
Mhm.
been one of my main champions, and also Mayor Barrett as well as Mayor Johnson has been one of my champions as well. So I can't leave him out. But I've had all of these different people behind me, but now it's like after the pandemic, it's like, okay, we got these other issues. This infant mortality issue isn't it isn't a concern. We're not really receiving federal funds for it. So it's it's kind of pushed under the rug now, and it's to me it's always been a personal battle for me. It's not checking the dots. It's not checking it's not getting beneficiaries like how most nonprofits are. Like this is a personal fight for me.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
They basically put infant mortality on the back burner, and now the biggest reproduction rights, anything that we're talking about, is abortion rights. Do you feel like those correlate any?
It does, and it can get real political when you talk about that because I'm on both sides of the field. I'm on the liberal side as well as the conservative side too. So you get the conservative advocates saying, "Tana, what do you think about that?" and all that. Me, in my opinion, I don't really speak on that, and they always, whenever there's like a political type of campaign, they always ask me
That's
to
the
speak
question.
on it.
Yeah,
and I'll be like, I lost my baby. I
Right.
watched my baby die. Like I really can't speak on that.
Right.
But I in my opinion, people have the choice to do whatever they want to, and I always say that, like, you do whatever you please in your life. That's your decision. But yes, the situation of abortion overshadows the actual infant mortality and mortality rates.
And I feel
issue.
like that's kind of unfair.
It is,
because true and all, and then when the conservative argument is that pro-life, and you have an issue where you can be helping with pro-life and helping make sure mothers and their children their babies, their newborns are healthy, but yet you put that on the back burner to make this more important, which I kind of know what the underlying.
We know what it is.
Yeah.
we not doing it.
Yeah, there you go. So that's why I wanted to make that reference, because we're nowadays we're talking about abortion rights so much that, like you said, that something that's really important, that's pro-life, is actually pushed on the back burner, that should be really talked about. That campaign, Stronger Babies, should never have died down. It should still be on bus stops, on buses, on ads all across this state. But you really don't hear about it no more for abortion rights.
You know what? I try to stay because this is a political conversation here in Milwaukee. Like
Mhm.
the funding source shift, and once it dwindled down, like it just disappeared. It dissipated, and I don't know if that's a word, but it just disappeared.
Mhm.
It went away, and I mean, we have the talks of doulas. Like we have some really great doula programs that are coming out. We got some new midwives. Like I love these ladies. Like it's some new black ladies that are making
Yeah, you know what's funny?
noise
What you
here.
said that on the scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Ara, baby
Oh
mama from the
yes,
program from the registration
yes,
program. Shout out to
yes.
Ara. She's actually a midwife, and she said she delivered a handful of babies. I don't know how many for sure, but I know it was
Okay.
more than 5.
Yeah.
And then a young woman I knew from back in the day. She's gone. She don't live in Milwaukee no more, but she comes back and forth. But I think she's delivered a couple babies here in Milwaukee. But she's a doula as well. Like she a nurses too. So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people are going that route and feeling that as the safest route,
It's
which I
it's
see.
more
Yeah.
safer
Yeah.
than actually
Yep.
the way they treat you in these maternal wards
Yep.
and
Yep.
and nurses and I could give you a story on God. Thank you that my baby is 25 now and just had twins, a boy and a girl.
Mhm.
But she I should be sitting here having this and that my condolences because I could be sitting here having the same story as you, but it was just this it it was just this adrenaline in me. At that point she was still in me, but it was just this adrenaline in me that would not give up on her. And hey, my and they were in there asking me the weirdest questions like, my baby drowning in my blood and you asking me how many fingers is up and asking
Mhm.
me all these weird questions. Would you get an ultrasound and tell me if my baby breathing and can you get my baby out of here? And it was just like, oh, looking at me as if I was like a project.
It
And they
was.
do
Yeah.
that to us often. So
Yeah.
I can't tell you that I know how you feel because I wasn't in that room and I didn't lose my daughter, but
Yeah.
I was close to. So I do feel that attachment, that I know how you feel to be sitting there dealing with it all yourself and you're trying to figure out how is all these professionals here
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my face. And it's like
Yeah.
you're really in like a dream. You looking at them like, could
Yeah.
y'all do y'all job? And
It was like it was a game to them. Like,
yeah.
and I know for a fact that I was on state insurance at the time because I was transitioning from coming back from LA. So I had just got married. I was on state insurance still. And my husband was sitting in the corner. He didn't know what to do, my
Mm-hmm.
ex-husband. So he just sitting there like, I don't know what to do with the fight. So these nurses are sitting around and the doctors, which was residential doctor. It wasn't my actual doctor because he went on a family leave on the day. So, he was a black guy. He wasn't there, but I had these foreign doctors that was just like, oh my God. Basically when they checked my cervix, there was presence of meconium. If you don't know what meconium is it's basically baby
Baby.
poop, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, oh, it's like pea soup. So when you immediately see meconium, you're supposed to act like you're supposed to do a cesarean, whatever. And they were laughing and joking about it. And it was
Wow.
like, I'm sitting at this
Wow.
bed, like I had a infection. I had an infection. So I was like literally shaking, like, what are y'all doing? Like, why aren't y'all making this an urgent
Right.
situation? So my heart decelerated 5 times. My son heart decelerated 5 times. And then they were 40 hours later, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do a cesarean." And it took them all of that time to decide, okay, it's time for a cesarean. We need to make some changes. So
And
that's
look how long that took to make the right decision.
it took a long time.
That should have been discussed and you should have been being prepared within that first
Yeah,
a couple of hours.
yeah,
Soon as they seen the baby poop. And
yeah,
you actually sitting there talking about it look like pea soup, and
yeah.
that's not something that you should be actually even saying to a patient.
Nah,
You should know from right then, as being a doctor,
right.
we need to set her up for a cesarean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So um I don't want to change the subject, but
You
I
got
do
to.
want you to be able to tell about your amazing the amazing work that you do in the community. So how did you come about with She Slangs Wood,
So
and let them know that your history behind that.
yeah, so I did all of this work with social justice work, right? So I was, in the streets. I was doing all this protesting and sitting at these tables with a lot of these celebrities and elected officials, all this to try to make sure that infant mortality is, babies are being hurt, black babies are being hurt in our community. So, um, okay, you want me to pause?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
All right.
Are you,
We can take the.
okay, yeah, I want you to come back to She Slang Wood, but you got a call from Miss Tonda on Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices.
Yeah, I have a question for your guest. I'm curious, listening to you sisters talk about infant mortality. I'm wondering if you believe there was any medical malpractice involved with the loss of your child.
Yes, there was absolutely. I was actually in a lawsuit for 6 years, and the hospital went and got the biggest doctor in the nation to deem it as a natural cause. But the baby actually passed from E. coli, which he swallowed his own meconium, and the E. coli came from the labor situation. Me being in labor too long, so there was like my lawyers were like, "Hey, we can fight this, but you got to pay us $80,000 to fight this case." And then the hospital was like, "Yeah, if you say something, we're going to sue you for defamation." So yes, there was definitely malpractice.
So you were able to get an attorney. Was this case in Wisconsin?
Yes, it was.
And then you had to pay an upfront fee.
I didn't have to pay an upfront fee originally, but if I was to really fight it, I was supposed to pay $80,000 to continue. So my attorneys advised for me to dismiss the case.
A wrongful death suit, right?
Yes.
It was a wrongful death.
Yes, it
Wow.
was.
Yes.
So yes, I was. It was 10 years ago, and I was at the point where I'm like, this is 6 years. I don't want to keep fighting this.
You didn't have it.
I
And
didn't have
shouldn't
it.
have been asked of you.
I didn't have it. So it was.
I wonder. So the reason I ask is I'm in the midst of fighting a medical malpractice case myself,
Mhm,
based on another medical issue. But
mhm.
I found that the problem is that this cap that they have in the state of Wisconsin.
Scott Walker put that cap in.
Yeah.
What is it, like 250,000? I think.
Well, the cap is 750,000 that you can get, but a lot of attorneys are doing what the sister said related to this upfront payment, or they say they can't make enough money because of the cap, so they are declining taking on cases,
Mhm.
which seems to still be the situation that you encountered. And so the question I have is if it's possible that I can get in touch with you to get some, because I'm actually fighting this right now.
Mhm.
And I have petitioned the Supreme Court to overturn that cap law.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if this may be something that you might be interested in looking at, and maybe writing what they call an amicus brief to the court.
Okay.
That's basically your story.
Definitely, I'm whatever you need. I'm I'm a community leader, so you can connect me. My
All right.
work. My work was centered on that. Yes.
We'll have Jermaine get your information.
Mhm.
Well, Jermaine, yeah, those guys should. I'll
Just give
Jermaine
it
my
to
phone
him
number.
so you can have the direct information right now for her.
Jermaine,
But
can
he's
get it
gonna.
now.
He don't want you to say it on the air, so he finna click you over.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for calling in, Greg.
And
Appreciate
and
that.
and your story is
Thank
it's
you.
a story that's actually happens actually practically every day, because it
happens every
happened to
day.
me. I just actually had a little bit different outcome, and they had to do emergency C-section with her. She was drowning in my blood.
Yeah.
And had I not, I just went ham.
Yeah.
For some reason, me, my temper, when I know something wrong, and I'm seeing you sit there, and I ain't gonna say what color and all that, and you asking me how many fingers I have up.
Yeah.
What's your name, man? And I'm knowing that I'm passing all this blood, and I'm like, my baby, and she's 8 months, and I'm like, give me a C-section, get my baby out of here, or don't come in this room talking to me. So I just got to shoot stuff at the door, like, don't come in here asking me no stupid questions no more. Unless you bring something here telling me how you gonna, if my baby okay, how you gonna get me out of, get her out of here. Don't talk to me. And that was pretty much how they end up luckily they had a conference down in Columbia Hospital that day, and my doctor was there in the conference with all the doctors, and literally came up and did the emergency C-section right then. That's what you needed at the time. And for them to literally sit there and question, and 40 hours later, if anybody think about 40 hours, that's 2 days.
Yeah. But what's crazy is that my attorneys at the time, they actually cracked the code. Like they did all of this investigation during the discovery moment, you know. And they flew to Arizona because one of the resident doctors, she became an actual doctor and she moved to Arizona. So they was going back and forth to Arizona to, you know, give her depositions. So they found out that the resident doctor, the teacher, the head of the resident doctors, she was in her room possibly asleep, and that she would not allow them. Like one of the doctors kept, the one that they went to go see, like she was the one I felt that was actually concerned. So she kept going and saying, hey, we need to deliver this baby, and the doctor wasn't answering the door. So basically they deemed that she didn't answer the door, but it was also, they kept saying that there wasn't any rooms available too, but it was really more so that the doctor wasn't opening the door. She was possibly asleep, and that it wasn't an importance to her. So basically, you know, I'm on a, you know, I was dying before my son was. So I was very sick, ill. I had an infection. My son was still okay, and which when he was born, he was okay. But over the 17 hours, so he was born on May 23rd, May 24th, the morning, that's when the E. coli septic shock set in with them in the morning. So I didn't think, you know, they were more concerned about me, and I didn't even know that he was sick. But in the morning they was like, okay, you need to go see your baby. He only has 5 minutes to live. You know, and this is a rush. Like they telling me I got 5 minutes to see my baby, and the first time I held him, they like, he's about to die. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, I'm holding this little pretty brown baby, and they like, yeah, he's about to die in 5 minutes. And no, and it was just so surreal because I'm still sick and ill myself. You know, my ex-husband was in La La Land. I'm, you know, not to, you know, joke about what he was going through. He was in shock. I call him. I'm upset because we got a divorce after that. So I don't mean to do that. And you know, he respectably was going through some things too, and I respect him for that. But he was just sitting in the corner, kind of like, what do I do? As a black man, and I can't speak on black men, but he was just sitting there hopeless. And I was sitting there like, okay, what can I do? I'm like, I can't do nothing to save my son, you know? And my mom came in, and it was just a rush of emotions, and it should have never happened. Like, he caught E. coli because they didn't flush his lungs out thoroughly after after being in labor for too long. So it's but I was blamed for that as a natural cause afterwards.
That is what is tough. And I'm glad you stayed in that fight, and I'm glad you making.
I'm still in that fight.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you stayed in there, and you making this known to the public. Because a lot of people go through it every day and don't realize that we all need to learn how to stick together and come out those cyclones.
I could talk now. Everybody retired, so I could talk about it now.
Yeah, and you put your energy in other things as well. Going back to She Slangs, can you tell them about it? And just one, we did get the table from you, but like what got you into that? I know we got that much time with you, and I know we got to take breaks and all that good stuff to pay some bills. But
as much time as you need to explain her organization,
go ahead.
I would love to.
So as I was mentioning, I was doing so much with I did the Harambe 5K, which is year 10, August 2nd this year. For the kickoff for Brownsville Week. Make sure you register. Yes, Harambe 5K, Google it. But yes, so I was doing so much work. It came to a point to where, you know, you burn out from that work, and you know, you feel like nobody's listening. Like, I'm like, we gotta save brown babies. Nobody was caring about what I was talking about. So when the unrest happened in 2020, so I started building tables as a hobby during the pandemic. Like, it was like, I need a table. At the time, I had a 3-year-old son, Jelani. My son, Jelani, liked to stand on tables like he was Mickey Mouse and do the Mickey Mouse dance, the hot dog dance, right? So he kept standing on the tables. I had a glass table. The glass table sunk down. And I'm like, I need to build a table that can hold this little fat boy, right? So I went to YouTube, I made a table. I posted online. About 10 days later, I had 10 orders. Everybody was like, oh my God, Tonda, that's a solid table. Like, it's awesome. So it was literally in the heart of the pandemic. We couldn't go nowhere, and I was in my backyard making tables. But long story short, the unrest happened, and I was like, look, at the time I was probably 33 or something like that. I don't know how long ago was that, but I was still, um, woodworking became therapeutic for me. And I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I've been doing this all these years. I'm gonna let these young people go protesting. I was nowhere to be found when the unrest happened. So I was literally in my garage building tables. Yeah. So She Slangs Wood. I actually resurfaced the viral video yesterday. I posted it on TikTok, and it went viral again of me making a folding bench. So I make this bench that turns into a table, and it turns into a bench. And it literally that went viral 5 years ago, and I posted it again yesterday, and it went viral again yesterday. So
you mess around, back yourself up on orders, keep playing.
Right. So that's how it happened. It was like, okay, at this moment, I need to make this a business. So I was online joking with somebody like, I should call it She Slangs Wood. They was like, you should, Actually, it was a comment like, you should name yourself She Slangs Wood. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that for real. And I was joking.
Catchy.
And then
catchy
as hell.
So later on down the line, Kelly Clarkson show got a hold to it, and they brought me on the show, and I was on the show in 2021. And right after I got off the show, because it was live, it was people hit me up like, you should patent that name, like you should patent. So immediately I had to get an attorney. I had to trademark the name. I had to trademark everything because people literally was like I'm about to take your name. You better patent it. Like they was like straight up with me, like I'm about to take your name, like patent it. So I patented the name, and ever since then I've been shared in the Guardian newspaper. That's the UK. Like I've been all over the world with that. So the way that God has taken my story and shared it across the world, no matter what I do, it seems like God elevates it. I've figured out how to make what all I do work, and that's teaching young people how to eliminate skills that cause the social determinants of health, like joblessness, homelessness, poverty. So I'm more of a teacher now. So instead of me going to the table saying, look, infant mortality is high, we need to do something, I'm going to the young people saying, hey, I'm going to give you a job and a skill to teach you confidence so that you can fight against these issues of racial disparities when you approach it, and you ain't got to ask nobody for nothing. So I'm going to teach you how to build this table. I'm going to teach you how to build a house. I'm going to teach you how to shoot and tell your own story. I'm going to teach you how to do these things on your own in our building, in our community. I could have been out in Brown Deer.
I know.
I could have been out. I live near Wauwatosa and Brookfield, all that. Yeah. But I grew up in Harambe. So I went to Keith Avenue, So my family house is 2 blocks away from the building I bought, which is the old 311 Foods. So
on our killers.
yes, the old candy store. I bought that store. It's across from Russell's. Yep. I hear the stories all the time, and people don't know that my dad's family grew up over there. So I used to have conflict with people not knowing who I was, but when they found out that I was Willie's daughter, and Willie, Pat niece, when they found out who my family was, they
relax a little bit.
Man, they take care of me. They make sure if they see anybody foreign on the property, they be like, they come out and shake it up.
I love community
has always.
I love
been like
Milwaukee
that.
pockets that be like that. That's make you still have so much faith in the city when you hear them stories where people still protecting, the legendary spots or whatever, the monuments or whatever it is, the house or whoever is on the block. So She Slangs Wood. Where you have products? You got some for these folks just in case they see something. Is it something in the mix, or how would they get a product if they see something they want?
So of course you can go to sheslangswood.com. That's where my stuff is online that you can buy, but you could come to the store, at 128 East Burleigh Street. But I'm known for, and I've been featured as the fence expert in the family handyman. So I build fences. So over the summer, you might see a group of Black women out building fences. So I hire young Black girls between the age of 17 and 25, and they're literally out there building fences better than most people.
I've seen
in the
them.
state.
I've seen your fences. Look, I've seen your fences. I've seen the patios. Getting it in for real.
Yep. So.
I need to ask you about, because we were talking about doing this thing in my aunt's backyard, and you probably are a person I need to talk to about it, because sometimes the guys just don't be having the energy no more. I guess the old OGs is done, or they just ain't never thought about it. And we were thinking about putting this little patio thing in the back of my auntie's backyard, and I think I'm sure I could knock this out. I just need to figure out what I need to do. So I probably need to have you come over there and look at it and tell me what my mission is and what all I need.
Absolutely.
I'll probably get it done quicker than you versus some other options.
my job is a teacher now. I don't I teach people what to do so that they don't have to depend on anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's, at the end of the day, that's what I am. God told me to teach your people what you know, so they can eliminate the issues that are concerning them, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to wait for anybody else. Don't go begging at nobody else's table. Don't sit at nobody else, because I sat at them tables and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, they like, what we do, Tonda? Like,
Right.
And we always go to the table and we don't have a solution ourselves.
No.
And we're expecting them to have a solution and they have no idea.
And most of the times we do have a solution, but we feel like we don't have a voice to say what it is that we know. We know what to do for ourselves. We know how to raise our families. We know how to get money for ourselves. We got money. We don't need their money, to be honest, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that we all need each other. Yes, in this world, we all need each other to survive. But there's certain times where we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to do it ourselves. And that's what my whole mission is.
Getting back to that community spirit. You're right about that.
Yeah.
And also, I was mentioning before, you told me out there you are the first African-American woman to...
I'm glad you brought that up. I am the first African-American probably in the world to own a sawmill. So the wood that is used for my materials in my shop, we take logs. So people are literally dumping logs in my backyard on First and Barley. And I have a sawmill, and I turn those logs into raw materials, as well as basically we turn a log into magic.
Yeah.
So
wow. I know you had a sawmill back there.
Yes, we have. I'm probably the first Black woman in the nation to own a sawmill. I would say in the nation, but if it's in the nation, it's probably in the world.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's the good drop right there for Black History Month. Yeah, going out with a bang over here. Tom, you got anything else you want to give to the folks before we get off the air? Just any shout outs, anything they need to do so they can know to support you again? I know you said sheslangswood.com. Anything else you want them to know?
Sheslangswood.com or validcreativecollective.com. Both of them go hand in hand. All our work is done together. The National Coalition for Healthy Black Families is my nonprofit. We do need funding support, so I have been throwing out a GoFundMe out there, to help with the mission, because I do have a lot of interns, and it's hard to take care of all of them by myself. But we're making a way with what we do. But just support the mission, and make sure that we are aware that we are the answer that we've been looking for.
I love that. Well, we got Tonda Thompson from She Slang Wood and everything else in between and beyond that. Tonda, thank you. I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you too.
Yeah, we're gonna link up. You need to help me with that patio.
Well. I got you.
We're gonna take a break. I said take a vote. We're gonna take a break on WNOV 860 106.5 FM, via Voice Radio.
Here's your updated forecast. Mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high into the upper 40s. Northwest winds of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, a slight chance for rain here late, increasing clouds, a low near 34. Wednesday, chance for rain and snow mixing early, then becoming all rain, cloudy, high 44 degrees. And Thursday, a slight chance for rain early on, partial sunshine develops, a high of 41. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. What happens when nearly 72 million Americans risk losing their health care? Well, House Republicans are pushing a spending plan that could slash nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid over the next decade. That's part of a broader budget blueprint to cut $2 trillion in federal spending while making room for $4.5 in tax cuts and boosts to defense and border security. But the plan is already hitting roadblocks. Moderate Republicans in swing districts where millions rely on Medicaid are pushing back, warning that these cuts could devastate rural and low-income communities. Speaker Mike Johnson insists the budget doesn't specifically target Medicaid, but let's be real. When you tell the Energy and Commerce Committee to find $880 billion in cuts, there aren't many places to take from. With the GOP's razor-thin House majority, they can only afford to lose one vote. And as opposition grows, today's vote could come down to the wire. The question is, who pays the price? For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
Remembering what we stand for. At Wisconsin Voices, we remember what we stand for. Check out our movement dedicated to empowering citizens and shaping the future. Engage with us on our website, social media, and podcast to make a difference. Visit wisconsinvoices.org. Explore our events calendar, like and subscribe to us on social media. Listen to recent podcasts and radio, and subscribe to our email and newsletter. Amplify your voice and be a voice today.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
Hi, we're back. We had an amazing guest here. We were glad to hear from her, and that's some important information that the community needs to be aware of, needs to talk about, and need to come together on. It goes directly with the effect of abortion rights. We so want to know who support a person's right to choose, pro-life, and we here are already having this very, very important issue in the community, and it has faded out, where even though it's tripled in infant mortality deaths, it has faded out to where you don't even hardly discuss it anymore because of the talk of abortion rights.
Yeah, like I said, the overshadowing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of something that aligns with the voting, with the abortion rights, and of course, is infant mortality overall. We did have that Supreme Court. We had that Supreme Court primary. So on April 1st, Wisconsin voters will choose between the two candidates. I know we spoke about it last week, but I forgot to mention it yesterday. We got the the two candidates for Wisconsin's top. Oh, excuse me, I'm mixing it up. This is the superintendent, but we do like the Supreme Court, which we'll go into that too, because they mentioned some pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's the superintendent
with
that was
Elon
in the
Musk.
primaries, but the Supreme Court will be in the general election.
And I want to speak about talk about the Elon Musk tapping into Wisconsin politics more with that. Well, on April 1st, Wisconsin voters will choose between two candidates for the K through 12 education official. State Superintendent Jill Underly is running for re-election against challenger Brittany Kinzer. So Underly and Kinzer advanced to the general election after receiving the most votes out of the three candidates in February's 18th primary. The state superintendent heads Wisconsin, the public Department of Instruction. So you'll see that April 1st, just keeping y'all in the loop of that. Again, you do have Underly and Kinzer, who will be the top two candidates for that position. Outside of that, I was just looking at something from a straw poll. They had that CPAC event last week with the chainsaw bureaucracy and everything. Excuse me. The CPAC attendees overwhelmingly vote J.D. Vance as Trump's MAGA successor. Did you see that? So A straw poll conducted at the Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC, this weekend found that attendees overwhelmingly favored Vice President J.D. Vance to be President Donald Trump's successor in 2028. Of the
I'm sure they
1,000,
gonna say that.
right, of course, right. Of the 1,022 attendees surveyed, 61% preferred Vance as the Republican nominee for president at the next election. In a distant second place was former White House chief strategist and Breitbart executive Steve Bannon at 12%, with Governor Ron DeSantis as Secretary of Governor Ron DeSantis and Secretary of State Marco Rubio trailing behind at 7% and 3%, respectively.
Yeah, I mean that's 9 times out of 10 that would be his. That's who they would choose to be his assessor.
But I'm tripping off from just hearing that because they did an interview with Donald Trump and asked Donald Trump if he thought that JD could be his successor.
And he said no, right?
He said
He
no.
said no.
Yeah.
He said no. So why would you pick somebody to be your vice president who you don't believe could carry it if anything happened to you?
Because he couldn't pick who he actually got doing his role pretty much right now.
Of course.
Elon Musk.
Of
because
course.
he's not an American citizen.
Of course. So he's finding the loopholes to get him in so then if anything was to happen to Donald Trump, he can, they could be like, well, Elon knows business and he knows this and that, and he's a successful millionaire. And
that's in the Constitution. He would never be able to replace him.
I feel you, but we've never saw anything that Trump is doing. We've never saw nothing like this.
I don't even hear of Vance, the vice president, right now. I don't hear of anything
at all
he is doing.
And another thing,
to me, Elon Musk is running the country.
Yeah. What happened to the people that was in space, man? What happened to them?
They
still up there.
They still up there. They still up there.
They
keep
another 6 months.
They keep pushing them back. That's
Figure that.
Yeah. So yes. Oh, we got a caller. Caller, what's up? You're on the air. Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum to you all. You were just speaking about a potential successor to Mr. Trump, and I wanted us to, or at least I wanted to add this to the conversation with regard to what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said back in 2016. Or during the time after the first term of Donald Trump, whereas the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that Donald Trump may be the last, emphasis underscore the last president of the United States, and I say that with regard to his second repositioning or reascension to the presidency of the United States of America. So he wasn't reelected, and I think it would be consecutively, like one after the other. But yet again, it can be considered as that because there may have been a intermittency between his first term and his second term because of Joe Biden. But here he is, and here we are again with him as the president. So with what I said with regard to what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said concerning his him becoming president again, being that he could be, and it could stand to reason that he might be, because in an article in Canada, and he already diminished Canada to the president of Canada as a governor of a state. They wrote in an article that by 2035 that America might be under the leadership or rulership or governance of a dictator. And then you had Ms. Gwen Moore, Congresswoman Gwen Moore, said that she's wearing red shoes and she called him a dictator in charge or dictator in chief. So all I'm saying is ultimately maybe we have come to the point whereas and I'll go with this. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that initially that if Donald Trump became the president of the United States of America, that he would take America to a rocket ship, take America to hell in a rocket ship.
In a rocket ship, yeah.
And then you have Elon Musk, who is a rocket man, and he probably is trying to build a rocket ship to escape the effect of what he is participating in, so that when everything collapses and all the people look at him, he has in his mind that he think he will escape to Mars, but he's not a Martian. He's an Earthling. So the same laws that apply to the Martians on their planet does not apply to Earthlings on our planet. You know, just a point or some few points, and I hope I made some sense to think about that. Maybe we are about to embark upon something like that movie called The Hunger Games, because that's in their mindset to absolutely make people totally impoverished. And finally, this might be the thing that is the precipice that causes us as a black people, because we have almost $2 trillion at our disposal, because that's what we do with it. Maybe this is when we could be we are the 9th richest people collectively on the planet. So maybe this might be what it takes, or what will cause us to come together as a unit and take charge of our posts and walk it in a perfect manner while keeping always on the alert. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for your
Yeah, thank you for your comment. Appreciate it. You know, I mean,
and
we just
that
got to
is
sit back and watch,
something
sit back and see what happens.
take
Yeah,
in and really.
the biggest thing for me with that being
I ain't
said,
watching nothing.
No,
you ain't gonna be my dictator.
no, I'm not saying.
I'm gonna be out there with
not
all them
that.
people protesting and fighting. You
Yeah.
ain't gonna be my dictator.
I'm not saying.
I ain't in
from
America to be no big to be with no dictator.
As he was stating, he was talking about, for everybody who may not know, he did mention Trump has been mentioning his third term thing, and I just wanted to say, you know, that's you know, the 22nd Amendment does say no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or has acted as president far more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected shall be elected to the office of the president more than once.
So didn't they just present something to Congress to change that?
Yes.
Yeah, they're trying. They're trying.
Mm-hmm.
So is it fair to say all of the ex-presidents can come back and run again?
That's where they stumbled on. So when they presented it, then that opened the door for, that was something that the Democratic Party did mention, and that's what kind of scaled back, because now they trying to rewrite it where it's saying not every president, but right.
So you can pick and choose.
You can pick and choose, because they said, well, if you change that means we can have Obama run, we can have Clinton run, we can have pretty much anybody that we wanted to. We can have Bush run again. Pretty much, you're opening the door to say any president can run again.
The pickings are very slim.
Yeah.
Hey, for real.
Yeah, the
Hey,
pickings are very slim.
Obama ain't gonna take that. He gonna come out with a bald. He gonna come out with a real bald head and a beard this time. He came out gray as ever.
Yeah, he came out gray as ever.
Speaking of other political, I guess races that went on. I know we got 2 minutes. German election winner Friedrich Merz said that Europe needed to achieve independence from the United States step by step, and it won't be easy. So the German election winner seeks independence from U.S. And they just pretty much was saying that, you know, what he feels is that Europe needs to achieve independence from the United States step by step. Merz told public broadcasters ARD. The Trump administration does not care about Europe one way or another. He said that they and called the advocacy of Vice President J.D. Vance and tech billionaire Elon Musk on behalf of Germany's far right, no less outrageous than Kremlin-backed election interference. Now, I was reaching something yesterday that was showing that J.D. Vance and Elon Musk were both saying that these German far right-wing white nationalist groups were being their rights were being suppressed, and they were pretty much being treated like, they weren't shown the same freedom of speech as any other groups. And again, these are far right. These are these white nationalist groups that he's speaking of. So this is what
again. The white nationalist groups.
So
are
in
being
German,
suppressed.
yeah, that's what
wow.
Elon Musk is supporting. Not only the ones that he's supporting in Australia, because that was the ones in Australia. I mean, South Africa.
South Africa,
but now this is another group of ones that are in Germany, and this is J.D. Vance and Elon, specifically Elon is supporting this. Specifically Elon is supporting this group of German white nationalists. And
I get it.
Yeah,
well, we got to wrap up, y'all.
Definitely wrap it
Next
up.
week, we're going to have a lot more education on the candidates for the 3rd district. Also, we're going to have a little more information on the superintendent candidates and the Supreme Court election.
Hopefully, we get one of those people in here to come speaking.
We'll see y'all next week. Get out here, enjoy this weather. Absolutely. Go barbecue, go hang out, but have some fun. Peace.
.860 AM, 106.5 FM, WNOV, The Voice.